IoT enthusiasts! Here is Alexi Demers again, an IoT software engineer working at Axceta. Today, we're going to talk about AWS Greengrass, a tool which is located under the IoT core section of AWS. The objective of this video is to answer the first question we may have when starting to explore Greengrass. Is Greengrass suitable for my project? In order to answer this question, we must be all on the same page regarding the following question. What is Greengrass? Greengrass is a software ecosystem meant to manage mid-end to high-end IoT devices application. Let's put emphasis on the word IoT here. Greengrass is meant to manage devices which the connectivity is one of their core features, though it can operate in offline modes for short duration or long durations, with some limitations we will explore shortly. The following slide will show important characteristics of Greengrass. First one is that it's meant to be executed on a complex OS, such as Linux or Windows. Of course, you cannot run that on an RTOS or on bare metal devices, as it uses Java runtime in the background and it does a lot of processing, so it's meant to be run on complex OSs. Second point is that Greengrass aims at facilitating IoT connectivity. It provides built-in provisioning, communication, and gateway libraries, so a lot of tools to help connectivity. Third point, suitable devices for AWS Greengrass are any device that does processing on edge. So, for example, actuator controls, AI processing, so it can be a user device, a tablet, or any industrial controller, for example. Other types of devices that could be interesting are IoT gateway devices. I'd invite you to take a look at my previous video about IoT gateways to know more about the use cases of IoT gateways. In order to help you understand where Greengrass is meant to be used, we will list other tools that address similar use cases. We have first Balena, which is an all-in-one solution for managing software on embedded systems. It's similar to Greengrass for its deployment mechanisms, so fleet management of the software versions of devices. But it differs for the part that Balena offers a complete OS plus software update plus troubleshooting solution that does not necessarily rely on internet connectivity. Second tool we can use to compare are two tools that I would put in the same bucket, which are Particle Gateways or Litmus Edge, which are two software framework that are more out-of-the-box solution for IoT gateways operations. So Greengrass is similar in the sense that it can achieve the same for IoT gateways solutions, but it requires more engineering to do the same, but it comes with more flexibility. Third tool is Azure IoT Operations, which is an equivalent of Greengrass for Azure Cloud, but it's in preview right now, so it's not meant for production. It should soon be, though. Let's now list some hardware devices that could be used to execute Greengrass. First, we have the well-known Raspberry Pi. You could install Greengrass on a Raspberry Pi and interface all of its peripherals and enable connectivity to AWS Cloud. Second types of device you could use is any NUC, any industrial computer with any connectivity possibilities. Third types of devices would be custom devices that can run Linux or Windows. Greengrass is suitable for custom hardware devices too. Let's now take a look at AWS Greengrass software features and ecosystem. Let's start by showing an example device that would run Greengrass with some example applications. You'd have at the bottom left a Greengrass device that has some connectivity to actuators, humidity sensors, PLCs, and that has some internet connectivity to the cloud. In the gray boxes, you have the OS that runs in the device itself. It can be any OS as long as it meets the requirements that are stated in AWS documentation, actually. In the white box, you have Greengrass Core, which would be the software ecosystem running in Greengrass. For the rest of the presentation, we will talk about components, which are Greengrass applications. The green ones here are Greengrass core components that comes with the installation of Greengrass. These components manage provisioning and authentication of the device, cloud communication, inter-process communication, so between components, and it manages components updates and statuses, which are called lifecycle actually. The other boxes, you have, for example, two blue boxes that are AWS provided components, so optional components with built-in features that, in this case, allow Modbus communication or OPC UA communication. And then the remaining boxes are example applications you could have developed that does telemetry gathering, AI processing, or anything, and another application that communicates through Greengrass IPC with the previous one, that shows a user interface with screen display, for example. That could be an example application in Greengrass. So let's now have a look at additional Greengrass features that could be useful for your project. The first one is the custom component management. So it allows to monitor your apps and make sure they are on at all times, or start them, stop them upon request. And it monitors their statuses and reports it to the cloud, basically. Second point that is very interesting is the fleet management that comes with Greengrass. It can show you on the AWS console the list of devices you have, show you their statuses, and then allows you to deploy software to them. So we are going to look at what it looks like on the AWS console. So here, I am on the console. I'm under the AWS IoT section. I'm going to go directly to the Greengrass devices section. Then under core devices. Here I got a list of all of the devices that I've set up. I only have one right now. It says it's healthy and it reported its status 18 minutes ago. It reports its status periodically, so it should be updated quite soon. And I can dig into this device actually to see what can the console show to me for this device. Here we have an overview showing the thing name with the Greengrass software version, some stuff here. And we have the list of components that actually runs on this device. So you have their version, the types of dependency, the status, when it was reported, some interesting information. And if you had custom components, you would be able to see their version here. Other tab is the deployments, because deployments on Greengrass devices are actions that you can do to update the device, so to specify new versions of components that it should be running. Then a device can have a thing group, so that you can group devices together so that they can have the same software version. You can create multiple groups depending on their location in the world, for example. Then let's move on to the next option, which is components. It shows at first the My Components tab. You can see the custom components that you developed. So here I have the Hello World component. But you could have as much components as you have developed. Then the second tab is the public components, showing everything you could install in your Greengrass devices that are provided by AWS. Then you have community components, which are externally developed components you could integrate to. Then you have other tabs here, but we're not going to dig into those because I think this is a good enough quick overview of the console for Greengrass. So just like we saw before, Greengrass provides some components that are already developed that you can directly use in your Greengrass devices. And we will look at some of them just to have an overview of what you could do and what are the most interesting components in my opinion. First one in the list here, I'm showing you the list that is from AWS documentation. I'm going to go directly to the component which is called Docker Application Manager. So note that with this component, you could put your own custom components into Docker containers, which could really help the management of dependencies for your own custom components, for example. Then, if we go a bit down in the page, we have the Lambda components. Yes, Greengrass allows to run a Lambda that should normally have run in the cloud directly on your edge device. So that could be very interesting if you want to share processing between the cloud and the edge device, so the Greengrass device. Let's go down a bit more. There are other components that could allow you to do some gateway applications like we discussed before. So we shown already in one of the last slides the Modbus RTU protocol adapter, or we have also IoT site-wise OPC UA. So these two components provide built-in connectivity with those different buses, if you'd like. So we also have, if I go a bit upper here, the MQTT bridge and MQTT broker that can be installed in your Greengrass device. So you could have a local MQTT broker so that external IoT devices could connect to it. Or the bridge allows an external device or any other devices around the Greengrass device itself to communicate directly to the cloud using the IoT gateway authentication or the path through the Greengrass communication. So that's most of it. As you saw, there are a lot of other components, but I'll let you explore them for your own use case. So now that we know what Greengrass does, it's important to know what Greengrass does not do. There are 3 points I want to address with you. The first one is that Greengrass does not come with a pre-built OS or any OS solution. So it does not update the OS of the hardware device you're running on. So you'll have to develop your own OS. There are Yocto layer and recipes to help you out with this. I'm just showing a link here. And you'll have to develop the update scheme for your OS2, which can be interfaced by a Greengrass component if you'd like. Second point I want to address. Greengrass does not support devices that never connects to the cloud. Greengrass expects that your device connectivity is one of its core features, as I mentioned before, but it can operate offline for a large amount of time. There's no problem with that. But if the device never connects to the cloud, it's not meant to use Greengrass. One of the points I can think of is that Greengrass cannot be installed offline. It must connect to the cloud to download the software it needs to run after installation. Third point I want to address that Greengrass does not do is support other cloud providers than AWS. That doesn't mean you cannot connect to Azure Cloud, but you'll have to develop the connectivity logic yourself and use external tools from Azure to do it. So let's finish with some frequently asked questions that could help you out in your choice of using Greengrass. First question I want to answer with you is, can Greengrass components run as root to access kernel drivers? Yes, it can, and it can even if component runs in Docker containers. Of course, let's consider security first, but know that you can access any of the hardware you need on your device from Greengrass components. Second question I want to answer with you. Can Greengrass components display something on a screen? Absolutely. There's nothing that prevents you from using any socket to send any display on your screen. And third question is, how is it invoiced? I need to go into the AWS documentation with you to see that. We have a little table here on the documentation saying for 1 to 10,000 devices, it's 16 cents per month. Over 10,000 devices contact AWS, so we don't know that information. That's kind of an interesting price, but note that AWS Greengrass will be charged for the communications you do with AWS in addition to that price. So if we go down a bit, you can see different calculations depending on the number of Greengrass devices and the number of IoT Core connections and the IoT Core messages that you send. So you see that it's more complex than that. So you could probably use those calculators to see how it will cost you at the end. This marks the end of this video about AWS Greengrass. Is AWS Greengrass suitable for your project? Probably, but this depends on many factors like the cost, like is there other tools that are more out of the box that could provide you your features? Or is your device connected to the cloud? Is it a core feature of your device? So this is all questions that comes in mind when deciding to choose Greengrass or not. I hope you liked it. And if you like these kind of videos, please subscribe.